Which UFC fighters are actually washed, guys? I feel like we're in the day and age, bro. We're saying everyone's washed if they have like a loss. Someone will get their ass beat. Yo, dude, they're washed, dude. They're out of here, bro. Yo, he just lost to this guy, so he must be out of it. Bro, I don't like that narrative. It actually kind of gets me mad because sometimes, like, bro, you guys are saying the wrong people are washed. Now, don't get me wrong. Some of these people are literally so bad, and some people try to gaslight themselves that they're not washed. So this goes both ways. The MMA community kind of just plays the favorites. If your favorite fighter is losing, you probably won't say they're washed. But let's have this ultimate tier list set out so I can tell you guys who's actually washed. And I have them separated in tiers like this. If you're in the top tier, bro, you're washed. Like, you are 100% washed your ass. You are not good anymore, brother. You're just here for maybe money, maybe, or you just don't want to give up on the sport. After that, I'm going to say downfall brewing. Like, this category means like you have a downfall that's kind of already started or it's in the process, but it's just going to get worse from there. Or you're still doing decent, but there's a downfall upcoming in your future fights and you're going to lose the next couple fights. Then I have something called soon, brother. Like, right now, you're all right. Like, you're okay, but brother, soon, be careful. Like, you're going to start to realize you're not supposed to be here anymore. These guys are just way better than you. And then I have something called just unlucky, man. It's not that you're washed. It's just like you're having these unlucky circumstances and it's leading to you losing these fights, you know? So I don't necessarily think you're washed. Then I have the category saying relax. This is pretty much, dude, this guy lost, he's washed. Because people do that. Bro, sometimes like after a dominant performance, they're going to look at a champion or a former champion like, dude, that guy's washed, guys. He's absolutely trash. He has no chance of coming back. Bro, relax. These guys aren't washed. So without further ado, let's get into the video. We're going to start off with the guy I thought about when I made this video, or when I was in the process of thinking of making this video, is Charles Oliveira. Now, I just had like a little live stream tier list and I was talking about Charles. And in the tier list, I started to say things that made me open my eyes with Charles. Because I feel like when you look at Charles Oliveira, the narrative is like, dude, he's still nasty though. Because he's good enough to beat and dominate Michael Chandler, you know? And then I feel like the Paddy fight gave us perspective of Michael Chandler kind of just has a, 3-minute cardio. Then he's kind of just there and you could play with him, you know? Oliveira having like 25-minute control time. I talked about this yesterday, dude. He has so much control time against Chandler, and he's supposed to be the best BJJ practitioner, and he just couldn't finish him. You know, Armin, he had him in so many compromising positions. He couldn't finish him. You know, Ilya, he tried to initiate grappling, but was getting flipped by the little fucking... he was getting flipped around by the Spaniard, got put in crucifix in like 2 seconds. You know, and it's getting me to a point where I know a lot of people still think Charles is still great. They're like, dude, this is still 2021 Charles. Like, he's still the best, dude. He's still in his prime, you know? But his last fight, the most notable thing I could take away from his last 3 fights is not even that he beat Michael Chandler, because that's not really impressive, is it? I think his best accomplishment in his last 3 fights was almost submitting Armin Sarukian, you know? Okay, he almost got him. He might have lost every second of the fight, but he won about 35 seconds of like the first round and like 30 seconds of the last round. So he did a good round. And there's still people in this world like, dude, it was a split decision. Can you stop hating? It was split. Dude, I'm telling you, it was a split decision. Trust me. That's the only... Dude, that was a 30-27 domination. And I can't really pick up much from the Chandler fight outside of the fact that he has no finishing ability anymore. You know, so I don't want to say he's completely washed because he did beat Michael Chandler. I'm going to say downfall brewing. I'm going to say... I don't know his replacement. I don't know if it's going to be Gamrot. I do think Gamrot beats him. And Gamrot's kind of going to solidify whether he's in the wash category or the downfall brewing. I think, to be honest, he struggles with wrestling styles in general. But I feel like his fight style has always been getting beat up, then coming back and winning. And now I feel like he's just starting to slow down. His strikes are looking a little bit more telegraphed. I don't think he's horrible. I don't think getting slept by Ilya in 1 round is a bad thing. You know, of course, it took him 2 rounds to sleep Volk, and then it took him like 3 rounds to sleep Max. But they're obviously better on the feet than Charles. You know, Charles had his only game plan to go in there, try to wrestle, got out wrestled. So I just look at Charles, and I'm going to say downfall brewing. You know, I'm not going to say soon, brother, because it's not like we don't already see the signs. Like, soon, brother, would be like we're already, like, maybe we don't see signs yet, but soon. But, like, I see so much signs, bro. You're slowing down. You're getting out-grappled by midgets, bro. You're almost submitting someone. That's your best accomplishment in your recent fights. You know, your last submission victory was, like, 3 years ago. I don't know, man. I just don't think he's fully washed, but I definitely think the downfall is brewing. Moving on, let's talk about the guy he just beat. Bro, I'm not going to spend time talking about this. See you at the top of the fucking tier list, man. You're at the top of the tier list, baby. Yeah. Bro, he's so bad. Oh, my God. When I say bad, you know, I mean bad. Like, real shitty. Like, it's like when I see Chandler fight, I'm amazed about the lack of fight IQ. Yo, I'm kid you guys not. The Paddy Pimblett fight, it made me, like... I used to scratch my head like that, but it got me doing this shit. Like, yeah, as you're reaching over, like, confused. Like, just don't understand the IQ. He uses so much energy in everything he does. He's always kind of fought like that, but it's catching up to him more so now than ever, you know? Like the way he was grabbing Patty and could have easily just pulled Patty down and do a trip, but he wants to like lift him, walk him over, start doing a dance and just slam on, doing all these sporadic, so much heavy movements. Then he fatigues in literally 3 minutes, and after that, he's just nothing. He's useless. He's making Patty look like a Nurmagomedov. Patty's just lifting him up, throwing him around, you know. And watching back the Charles fight, his performance was pitiful. Just jumping and lunging into stuff. Even when he had Charles hurt, dude, there was a time he had Charles hurt, guys. I kid you not. Please look at the footage. It blows my mind. Every time I think of this, he had Charles hurt. He does a stupid clobbing hook and absolutely misses and hits the air and then falls on the ground. It's like, you can't make it up with some of these bums, you know. He's so washed. Like, I need his own category. If I could put him a little bit higher into like the unknown, I would do it, because he's in a whole category of himself. He's definitely going to be in the front runner of Wash, because he's the embodiment of Wash. When you guys think of Wash, please think of him, guys. It's the only thing that makes sense. Next up, Alexander Volkanovski, mate. Here's the thing about Volk. Listen, he's coming off a win. He did beat Diego Lopez. And Diego Lopez, I guess you could say that win aged good. Because Lopez did beat Gene Silva. I'll be real in the Lopez fight, guys, though. No one really talks about it. Like, I did pick Lopez to win, but he didn't impress me. His striking looked so shit. He actually looked really bad in that fight. To an extent, his grappling looked great, but his striking looked a little bit mid-tier. And that's kind of where Volk schooled him. Now, I don't even want to, like, Volk, I feel like people could be, like, relaxed, like some people, like, Volk fans. But let's be real, guys. I'm not even going to put him in Soon Brother. I'm going to put him in the same category as Charles, where the downfall is brewing. Like, we already seen the signs of the downfall already. You know, he's kind of already showing that he's susceptible to certain styles. Now, I'm saying downfall brewing because I know when he goes against Movsar, he's probably going to lose, guys. Like, if I had to put money on it, I'd probably say Movsar would beat Volk. But I don't want to put him in Wash because he's not fully washed. He's still good enough to beat people who are going to be like a little bit low output. I feel like Diego Lopez is low output, so he's able to stick and move. And I just don't think Diego Lopez is like one of the top tier featherweights. So I'm okay putting Volk in Downfall Brewing without it being a hot take, you know. Or maybe, well, the thing is, should I, you know? I might put him to Soon Brother. Okay, I'm going to put him, I know I just said, I'm going to put him to Soon Brother. Like, we already see the signs, but if Volk plays it right, guys, and like fights Yair, rematches Lopez, and like avoids Movsar, guess what? He's gonna keep winning. So we'll say Soon Brother. Yeah, we'll say Soon Brother. You know, and to be fair, Ilya's really good. You know, Islam's really good. The guys beating him are really good. But I'm gonna say Soon Brother rather than Downfall Brewing because, you know, Downfall Brewing implies you're gonna like probably use your recent fights or your next couple fights. Whereas I feel like Volkanovski is gonna win until he goes against a good person. All right. Next up, we're gonna go Let's go Justin Gaethje, man. Justin Gaethje coming off a win as well. It's not everyone coming off a win means they're like not declining. I do see decline in Justin Gaethje's fight style and just the way he fights in general. Like, that does not have longevity attached to it. I will say Justin Gaethje, though, looked good against Fiziev because he showed championship mettle. Rounds 2 and 3, he pulled through. You know, he was in a weird position where like he was getting controlled in like a weirdest position. He survived it. You know, he showed resilience. So I don't think he's horrible. You know, I think Downfall is broken, but I feel like if you match him up correctly, he could actually do some good work. So I'm going to say Soon Brother. I'm not going to say, like, we see the signs, but he could sneak out a win against Patty, you know. Like, there's some people Gaethje could surprise and, like, find ways to pull it out the fire, like Leon Edwards' coach be saying. So I don't think he's absolutely washed, but definitely Soon Brother. Like, we're going to start to see Justin Gaethje slowly fall off. He can win his next couple fights, but this whole notion, let me fight for the title, I'm going to retire, is stupid because Ilya sleeps him so bad, it'd be illegal. All right. Moving on from that fight, let's go. Listen, I got caught. He got dominated. I hate that quote so much, you know. Listen, Jamal Hill, how do I view Jamal Hill? Guys, I'm going to say something that's a hot take. He's washed. And now he's only 34, which in retrospect is kind of young for a light heavyweight. Why I think this idiot is washed is like he has no limbs anymore. He can't walk anymore. Like, his surgery, his double ACL surgery, his knee surgery on both knees now. He moves like a sloth. His movement was bad before. Now, after the surgery, his movement's even worse. So take his current movement that you see right now and just amplify it by 10x worse. If I look at someone like Jamal Hill and I look at the way he's trying to fight, I just don't see him moving correctly to a point where he could even beat the best of the best anymore. Who can Jamal Hill really beat? Like, if we're being real, who can Jamal Hill? I think he loses to Yuri in a rematch. I think Khalil schools him in a rematch. I think Carlos Ulberg sticks and moves him. I think Jan Blachowicz right now probably beats him. I know Ankalaev would smoke him. He's at the point of his career he's washed, and it's unfortunate because I feel like it's coming because of, like, injuries. But, you know, 34 at light heavyweight is supposed to be young in some aspects. But, bro, 34 is really old for this guy because he already has, like, the longevity and the the physical attributes of an old man with no knees. So, poor Jamal Hill, but I would say he's a little bit closer to the category of he's a little bit washed more because of physical attributes than anything. Speaking of bad knees, I feel like it's only fitting. Let's go from bad knees from Jamal Hill to Kamaru Usman, guys, because his knees were bad, and he is coming off a win. I got to give him credit. Unlike Jamal Hill, he's coming off a win, and it was a dominant win at that. Like, he smoked Joaquin Buckley in that fight. Like, he went in there and kind of did whatever he wanted with him. But I can't help but notice, like, when he would strike, it's almost like he'd fall over himself, you know. It was kind of like, it almost made, I was in pain watching him because I understood he was in pain. I felt his pain, man, you know. I felt every single time he was forced to stand with Buckley how uncomfortable he was. That being said, I do think Buckley's a very explosive, dangerous striker, you know, and he was running a 3-fight losing streak. And the reason I was telling you guys that Usman could beat Buckley, and people were saying you're casual. I was making these videos, like, all the comments were like, dude, you're casual. He's going to smoke your Nigerian, but I was saying that even his fight against Hamza, he didn't look bad. Before that, against Leon Edwards, the head kick was kind of fluky. And then before that, the Leon Edwards trilogy, it seemed like he did enough to win, but not enough to win the title, if that makes sense. So I never really looked at him as like, oh, you got smoked by Hamza in the first round, he's washed. I never said that. Other people would say he's washed. I was saying he's not going to be the best against Buckley, but he could be good enough to beat him, you know. And that being said, like, where would I put him on a tier list like this? It's weird. Like, I could say just unlucky in the aspect of, like, you could say that the Hamza fight was 10 days notice, and he goes in there and still wins arguably 2 rounds on the current middleweight champion. You know, then he smokes Buckley. He's supposed to be the next. But I feel like it's going to happen. Like, I feel like soon, brother, is going to be more appropriate for Usman, because even though he's winning against some of these young bucks, it's almost like it's a matter of time before he loses. Well, he's in welterweight. He beats JDM, in my opinion. But soon, because he's 38, He's 38, isn't he? So he's 38 years old. So I got to say soon, brother. Like, little bits, time. When time comes, he's 38, man. Time's going to catch him eventually. So I'm going to say soon, brother, for Usman. He doesn't look as bad as people try to make it out to be, but eventually it's going to come to the point where he starts to lose, and I got to accept that. Next up, we're going to go Marvin Vettori. Don't even want to spend too much time talking about it. He's washed. He can't win any fight. He's actually really bad at fighting. I don't even know why he's still here. You know, he's just here to be controversial on Twitter now and just say racist shit. That's his goal, and I don't even want to spend too much time talking about it because he's a bum. He has great chin, but, like, at that point of your career, you're gonna get praised for your chin and just take beatings. If he wants to, why not? Next up, I'm gonna talk about a unique one, Robert Whittaker. After the Ranier DeRuyter fight, everyone's saying Robert Whittaker is washed. I thought he fought well. I actually don't think he fought bad against DeRuyter. I just think DeRuyter was a tricky style for him. There's a world, guys, where DeRuyter wasn't hooking gloves. Like, he wasn't hooking gloves, and he got brutally finished, you know, by ground and pound and elbows, you know. And that fight could have been stopped already, you know, but we know Mark Goddard is known for horrible stoppages. Relax, man, relax. Dude, Whittaker's washed. Relax. You know, he won that fight in an alternate universe, you know, with no cheating. He won that fight. He's been calling out Strickland for a long time now, and Strickland keeps saying no because Strickland knows he's going to lose. I don't think Whittaker still schools Strickland. He schools Brahalo. He schools a lot of these guys. I could see him beating Imavov as well. Honestly, I could. Like, it'd be tougher, but he can mix in wrestling. He's a very well-rounded person. I don't like the notion that people are trying to push him in these washed. Whittaker's not washed. It makes no sense that people think Whittaker's washed. He's going to be the first person in my relax category, because people should relax and stop talking about this like it's close to happening. Even it's not even close to happening. Stop it, bro. It makes no sense, bro. So leave Whittaker out of the wash conversation from now on, guys. It gets me mad. Speaking of people we should leave out on the wash station, let's talk about fucking Dorino Burns. No, we're not leaving him out the wash. Matter of fact, you're going straight to wash. I'm actually debating, where is he higher? I think he's more washed than Vettori. You know, at least Vettori could, like, make a fight competitive. Burns is not good to me, guys. I think he's absolutely washed. I never picked him to win a fight in, like, any of his recent fights because I just understand what it was. I remember I picked Michael Morales to school him, and I people like, dude, you're tripping, dude. Like, Morales is not. No, Morales is not even that good to me. I just understood that Gilbert Burns is not at that point of his career where he should even be fighting. He, like, gives up on himself. You know, he's just as bad as his brother at this point of his career. He's just not good to me. I don't look at Gilbert Burns and think he's a threat or think he's talented or good anymore. There was a point he was the boogeyman at 170 when he only had that loss to Usman. Even when he only had a loss to Usman and Hamza, he still looked like a little bit cool over there. You know, he lost to Bilal, who was good after that. But there was a point where I started to see in fights he kind of mentally gives up on himself. And once I saw that, I kind of realized he just wasn't that guy. All right, next up, we'll talk about Aljamain Sterling, guys. We'll talk about Aljamain Sterling. Why is it looking like this? Okay, yeah. Aljamain Sterling, coming off a win against Brian Ortega. You know, he's been winning lately. He's been looking good lately. And I know he wants to fight Lopez next, and Lopez is a little bit like, I don't want to fight him. because Lopez kind of probably thinks he loses, which I do think Lopez probably loses to Aljamain Sterling. This is how I look at Aljamain Sterling. You know, people kind of push the narrative because he's aging, and like before he went up to a different weight class, he got knocked out by Sugar. And I'm gonna honestly say he's just unlucky. I honestly think the Sugar fight was unlucky. I think he just got caught against Sugar. I think if he runs it back with Sugar, he actually beats him like 9 times out of 10. That's what Marab said, his own training partner. I'm telling you, Aljamain, he beat this guy 9 times out of 10. It's unlucky punch. You know, I agree with Marab though. Like I feel like he got unlucky, and I feel like people even look at him in this light or this scope because he kind of got unlucky, you know, against Sugar. But he's never really showed washed tendencies. I hate the fact that people bring it up. Maybe he's aging, you know, but I'm gonna just say unlucky. So unlucky means something to me. This unlucky tear means something to me because people are confused when someone gets unlucky in situations. So like equating it to their ass and their wash. This is not Aljamain Sterling. I think he's pretty good. Moving on. Let's go Figgy. I'll be real, Figgy's a weird one because his performance against Corey almost looked like he shouldn't be there, to a point where I could definitely for sure say he's washed. And I could say he's washed, and I could like believe fully, like full-heartedly, he is washed. The way Figgy fought against Corey, it almost seemed like a desperation tactics to almost get himself finished or get out the fight as soon as possible. Figgy doesn't usually fight like that. Flyweight prime Figgy would like hunt you down, and he'll hit you with stuff that means something, you know, like he has effort and things behind it. But in the fight against Corey, it looked like he's just trying to find a way out. Like I just saw him like, dude, he looks like he's trying to survive. Looks like he's just trying to find a way to not get brutally slept. That's how I view this fight. And I think he's at the point of his career. He's washed. He's older, and he's going against bigger, stronger guys now. He has no reason to stay here. He's washed, and he's not going to win anytime soon. Next up, let's just talk about it. Fuck it. We got Sean Strickland. Strickland obviously got 50-45 in a rematch against DDP. Thing about Strickland, I don't think he's a bad fighter. And I know you could probably say that because DDP 50-45 them. The truth about Strickland, just stylistically, his style of fighting is easy to counter if you rematch him. I feel like he's one of those people who you figure out. You know, Chris Curtis said it the best. He said he wasn't surprised when Strickland beat Adesanya because when people come to the gym and spar Strickland for the first time, with people fighting for the first time, they're very surprised by his style. And I didn't know what I remember Chris Curtis was saying that. I think his name's, yeah, Chris Curtis was saying that. It's one of his training partners, the black dude, who literally talks like him. He was saying that people fight him for the first time and don't know what to do. But then after a long period of time, you kind of get used to the style of fighting. That's how I see Strickland. I feel like if you rematch him, he's going to look shit all the time. But I don't think he's washed. I'm going to put him in the relax. I think Whitaker's better than him. So I'm going to put Whitaker higher in this tier. Wait, yeah, Whitaker higher. But Strickland is one of those relaxed. Like, he got 50-45 by DDP. He's not going to lose to most of these guys. You know, him versus Imavov in a rematch would be interesting. Maybe he loses. But even if he loses to Imavov is just improving, you know. I think Strickland beats a lot of guys. I think he schools Brahalo. I really do. And Brahalo's still a pretty solid opponent, you know. I think he beats a lot of these top middleweights. He's still really good. And I don't want people to get confused because he got 50-45 by DDP, equating to he's washed. This guy's not washed. Speaking of that, I actually got to talk about this guy. Let's talk about Dricus Du Plessis, because for some reason, after the Hamza fight, I saw people saying Dricus was never that good. Dricus is washed. Bro, what? How though? Like, I'm confused. Are you guys trying to equate Hamza dominating someone to the person being washed? I can't agree with this, bro. He's definitely not even washed, but the fact that I have to put him here is kind of unfortunate. I'm not gonna say just unlucky because it wasn't an unlucky performance. It was Hamza showing him what he's bad at, which is why I said Hamza was gonna destroy him, because I said DDP can't rest so defensively to the best of his extent, especially against a Hamza. He gets flipped around by Izzy, by, you know, Whitaker, taken out by Darren Till. Of course he's going to get mauled and destroyed and played with by Hamza. Like, I knew that. Most people didn't, but I knew that, you know. But it leads me to understand that people need to relax. And he's better than Strickland, of course. So people need to relax. Yeah, he's better than him and Whitaker will be interesting, but I just think DDP's fight style in general, what makes him special is his kickboxing. People get confused. I hate when people compare him to RDR because they're both awkward. DDP's actually a really good kickboxer. He has great question mark kicks, so quick. You know, he's so fast when he throws it. He's just relentless. He's one of those people that I don't know why people try to even say he was washed after the Hamza fight. Maybe you're just surprised about how good Hamza was. But yeah, he's not washed. Get him out the wash conversation. It literally makes zero sense if you're calling someone like Dricus Du Plessis washed, especially in the big 2025. Beats a lot of people. Probably beats every single person outside of somebody like Hamza Chimaev. But, you know, time will tell. Next up, Colby Covington. And I was a big Colby Covington guy. You guys know that. Like, as for his fights, not his fucking cringeness, but he's washed now. Dude, the way he fought Buckley, I'll be real. Let me say it like this. There's no world where Kobe should lose to Buckley. Like, when I picked Kobe to beat Buckley, people thought I was like, dude, you're casual. Who could think Kobe? I expected Kobe to fight like Kobe. I thought Kobe in the Leon fight was a broken foot because that's what happened. He showed the x-ray, he had a broken foot. I was like, oh, maybe that's why he wasn't fighting like Kobe and wasn't on the front foot. He fought Buckley the same way. He was shooting telegraph takedowns. That's the wash tendencies. You notice the fighters wash, they give out like some telltale signs. They'll like shoot telegraph takedowns. They'll like just do things that are stupid. They'll do things that show they're uncomfortable in the ring and their positioning. So they just do things they don't usually do in their prime. That's what Kobe shows. He's clearly washed, and I don't think anyone should disagree with that narrative at all. Next up, let's talk about Pit 30 on. This is going to be a hot take. He's going into Downfall Brewing, and he's winning fights. And, of course, he lost a round to Marcus McGee, who's cool. But I got to be real about Peter Yan, guys. The more I see him, the more I actively notice he's slowing down, and the more I'm noticing his boxing style that I praise so much and I call him the best boxer for is a little bit overrated because it's defensively flawed. In the sense that I hate when he does the high guard with the mouth. Because I always bring this up. When he covers his face with his high guard and gets 1-2'd and his head goes snapping back, you don't have boxing gloves. I'm under the impression Peter Yan uses boxing gloves training all the time, all 16-ounce gloves, and he box shots like this. And yes, he catches it on the glove in sparring, but he tries to do this, like cover this with his face, hit the MMA gloves with his face in actual fights, and he always gets his head bounced back. Just losing rounds to people he shouldn't be, slowing down actively. Like, of course, he schooled Marcus McGee, but you're supposed to. Umar schools him. I think Corey beats him in a rematch. I think Sugar could beat him in a rematch. I think he's slowing down. I feel like he just doesn't look as poppy and snappy as he used to. I could actively see Peter on every single fight, since he had the belt, actively kind of slow and get worse and get worse and get worse, and that's just not promising to see. So I don't think he's going to win his next fight, especially if it's against like a Umar or the winner of Umar Batista or someone. It'd be interesting. I think Batista could even give Peter Yan a little run for his money. I'm not even trying to hate, man. I just don't think he's all that great. And I think the people he beats, he's supposed to be beating. It's not surprising to me the people he beats because, of course, he's supposed to beat him. It's just surprising to me when he struggles with people I feel like he should smoke or prime him with smoke. Prime him doesn't lose a single round. I know he's a slow starter. Prime him still schools Marcus McGee every single round. Trust me. But next up, let's talk about Leon Rocky Edwards, guys. Here's the thing. Too much people are doubting him. I don't want to put him in relax. I'm going to put him in just unlucky. What makes him unlucky exactly? The style of fighters he goes against. There's a specific style to beat Leon Edwards, and he's been not blessed enough to go against these styles like kind of back to back, like losing to Bilal, then going against Sean Brady. There's a specific style who beats him. Now, people are conflicted now, and they're starting to pick Carlos Prates because they're under insinuation that Leon's going to fold to him. Leon's going to school Prates. He just got unlucky going back to back against fighters like that. To beat Leon, you need to have forward pressure mixed with volume, mixed with wrestling. If you don't have the wrestling, at least have forward pressure mixed with volume. If you don't have the volume, you just have forward pressure like Carlos Prates, you're not beating him. Sorry, you need 3 out of 3 of those things. You don't have the wrestling. So now you need at least high volume with good pressure. But we've seen against Ian Gary, Carlos Prates, when he's going against longer range opponents, he'll walk you down, but he's not going to be high volume. He's going to be looking for that killer shot. Not going to work against Leon, who I think schools Carlos Prates. So I'm going to say he's just unlucky and going against people similar to his attributes and his skill. And I feel like people need to let that whole narrative just die down. The whole stupid narrative that, dude, like he's washed because he's losing in this style of fighting. No, he just can't beat that style of fighter. Simple as. Will he ever be champion again? No. Is he going to lose to Carlos Prates? Hell no. Next up, Henry Cejudo, brother. Henry Cejudo. I don't know why I said that. I don't know, Kamaru. I might be washed, Kamaru, Kamaru. I might be washed, Kamaru. Yeah, you are washed, dog. You are going to the wash category. The way he fought Song Yadong, kind of similar to Kobe Covington, guys. When I say fighters just do things that make them look weird, he would throw 1 strike at a time against Song Yadong, who's not good. Cejudo in his prime would beat Song senseless. No offense, I like Song, but he would beat him senseless. He looked uncomfortable there. He would throw 1 shot at a time. He didn't give up. I actually believe his eye actually got destroyed in that fight with that eye poke or whatever. But it's just even before that, like, he wasn't that he was losing significantly. It was just like he didn't look like vintage Cejudo. You could tell he just wasn't the same person he used to. His karate stance works for about 2-3 minutes, then he starts to fatigue and looks more flat, then starts throwing 1 strike at a time, and then he just starts to wilt. That's not prime Cejudo for me, so he's not gonna not be in the wash list. I think he's washed. I think he needs to retire. Can he beat anyone? I don't know. Like any top guy, I don't know. Can he go back down in the ranks and beat like a bum? Sure. But he's at that point of his career. He's probably not going to get that luxury. So I am going to put him in the wash category with all these beautiful wash people who kind of ask. All right, last 2 guys. Alex Pereira. Going against Inca Lab next. He's going to get knocked out probably or destroyed. He's going straight to the Downfall Brewing. I'm going to say downfall brewing because we're starting to see the signs against Khalil, I guess. He struggles with that style of fighting. Then goes against Ink, gets schooled in a way he looked like he didn't want to fight. There's a point in fighters, guys, you see if they don't actually want to fight or not. And we could definitely see that in Alex Pereira in his last fight. He wanted to just low kick and circle when he figured out his hand speed was nowhere near the speed and agility and just power of Ink Alive. So he tried to resort to low kicking and circling. He's going to lose his next fight. That's why I'm saying downfall brewing. It's brewing because he could maybe beat some other people like a Jamal Hill again, but he might actually lose to some other people. Like, say he doesn't get a 5-rounder and gets a 3-rounder against Khalil Rountree somewhere in the future. If he still wants to fight and he's like 39, 40, he's going to lose to Khalil in a 3-rounder this time around, He needs 5 rounds to beat someone like Khalil. Against Yuri, he probably beats him again. It depends. Like, defensively irresponsible people will lose to Alex every time, but Rakic would beat him. I think Khalil's in 3-rounders will beat him, and I think Ink Alive beats him every time. Downfall just brewing. After he loses to Ink Alive, he's only going to get age. He also said after the Ink Alive fight that he's not interested in fighting frequently, which lets me know that he's like kind of getting to that point if he's going to retire very soon. So he's going to have to go in downfall brewing. Last but not least, we're going to say the best for last. Israel Adesanya, guys. And unfortunately, we're going to put just unlucky. Yeah, baby. Nah, I mean, serious. He's just unlucky. Guys, I said this about Usman. Usman. I didn't put Bilal on this, but I said this about Usman, guys. Usman, after his 3-fight losing streak against Leon, and then Kamza, I told you guys, he's not washed. Stop painting the narrative he's washed. I'm going to say this thing about Izzy, guys. I'm going to say the same thing about Izzy. Now, Strickland loss was not good. It wasn't pretty. Was that 4 in a row for Izzy? The Strickland loss was not pretty, but the DDP loss was hard work from Izzy. I saw Izzy in the DDP fight show moments where he could still grit down and just show warrior spirit. But what's weird about that fight is he didn't fight DDP the right way. I thought low kicks would have done it, but he got into a dogfight with DDP. DDP's fire burned the longest. All right. And then his loss against Nasruddin Imavov, the eye poke. Now, looking at his Strickland fight, it looked bad, but it looked like an off night for Izzy. In the DDP fight, he fought a lot more aggressive, where in the Strickland fight, he fought like a little bit kickboxing style against Strickland style, which doesn't work. Goes back to my narrative that you rematch Strickland, you probably beat him, but the first time around, you get whooped. But the way he fought against DDP was just who want to outwork who. Once it looked like DDP was slipping away in DDP fashion, he finds a way to finish it. I don't think that's a bad loss for Izzy. Then in a Imavov fight, he's schooling Imavov, destroying him in the first round, which we see now is very impressive because we saw how Imavov started so strong against Brahalo and was schooling Brahalo, who's a pretty good striker himself. Izzy schooled Imavov the first round, gets eye poked, then knocked out right out the eye poke. If that's not unlucky, I don't know what is. Everyone in the unlucky category is literally just having unlucky situations. Aljo getting caught by Sugar, Leon getting the same style repeatedly, and then Izzy getting eye poked in his recent fight. I don't think Izzy is washed. I do think if him and Imavov fought 5 rounds and Imavov never caught him, it was just going to be an Izzy 50-45. Like, let's be real. And I think Izzy would have actually grew because Imavov does fatigue and slow. I think Izzy could have finished him. So it was to the point where Izzy just needed not to get caught, but he got caught after an eye poke, coincidentally. It sucked that it was an eye poke. I would rather him get caught clean from a clean strike with no eye poke, but it sucked that right after the eye poke he got caught. I'm going to just say it's unlucky. I do think Izzy schools Brahalo. I think Izzy could beat an RDR. I think Izzy could still beat some of the best fighters on the planet. I think he can still beat the Whitakers, who I don't even think is washed. He could beat Strickland in a rematch, but Strickland doesn't want to do rematches because people figure out his style. He could even, he could rematch Imavov. He could do a lot of things. I know people aren't going to agree with it because they don't like Izzy, but I'm going to stick to my, my swords, brother. I'm going to say what I got to say, brother. Dale, brother. You don't agree, brother? You have no hairline and Shiba. I have nothing to say to you. But let me know what you guys think about this tier list. I think I was fair. I think this is the right looking tier list. Let me know what you guys think down below. That's it for me, and God bless. 2, 3, 4.